Excellent. Alrighty. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing okay? Cool. I like it. Howdy, Tim. Slow booting up this morning? You two are going to warn me if Coach starts coming up, right? You're going to warn me if Coach starts coming this way? Okay, good. Excellent. I'm not going to do that to her. She's already in charge of running the mic. You know what you're doing, though, right? When Jerry points for someone over here, it really isn't. But you got to watch this one right here. You got to watch him. He will start with whether he has that mic or not, and then I get yelled at by Buckeye Nation. Oh yeah. No, thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. That's true. No, I will. Yep. Yeah, I was 93. Really? Wow. All right. Well, if everyone in the back is okay, if we're good to go, I think I'm going to go sit down. So I'm not just standing up here. Check. All right.
right, we'll open up the floor over here on the right, Dylan Davis, and we'll go to Austin Ward.
Ryan, Kyle seemed to really settle down in the second half there. I guess how would you assess his play and how he came out? And just as a team, too, you kind of seemed a little bit flat. I mean, was that something that you kind of saw it might be the case in practice this week? Or
No. Couldn't quite understand what was going on there in the first couple drives. Didn't quite get in sync on offense, and then we had the botched snap. That was not supposed to be a fake. It was just a bad snap. He just kind of it slipped out of his hands, and it was like one of those things. Okay, what's going on here? But that is the game, and you got to respond. So I thought we did respond well in the second half, like you said, got in a rhythm. The number one goal is to be 1-0 on Saturday, so check that box. We want to play well in the second half, check that box. We wanted to start fast, and this game didn't get that done. So we got to look at why that is. But, yeah, you could start to see the rhythm again in the second half, similar to kind of, how we got in that 2-minute drive 2 weeks ago. So got to look at that and figure out why that is. But some real good play by Marvin Harrison, and we needed that, because they were putting a lot of guys in the box and left the middle of the field open at times, and we took advantage of that in the second half.
Over to the left, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch, and then Nathan Baird.
You were coming off an off week and an emotional win, and I know you respected Maryland. What do you attribute the early struggles to?
I don't know. I don't. I wish I had an answer to it, but you just got to keep. Shooters keep shooting. You just keep shooting and push through it. But no, I don't really have a good answer for it, other than we got ourselves off schedule and then found ourselves in some third and bad situations, which is why the third down looks the way it does. One thing about the third downs in a couple weeks ago we did a nice job of is we stayed in pretty manageable situations. This was not the case today, so didn't quite get that done. But overall, I was pleased with the second half, but not the first.
Played. Any explanation for that?
Yeah, so we expect him to be ready for next week. It was one of those things where the question was if he played in the game, could he have a setback if something happened in the game? The answer was yes. And just based on how everything played out last year, the decision was made to hold him this week to make sure that he was full go next week, because we know we got a lot of football ahead of us. And so we have a ton of confidence in Chip and in Mayan to go ahead in the game and go play. And they did. But excited to get Trey back for next week. He could have played in the game, but the decision was made.
Over to the right, Austin Ward, Rivals, the podcast, and then Stephen Means.
Ryan, a month ago you walked into the postgame at Indiana and said sometimes you have to be okay winning with the defense, especially in the first half tonight. I mean, you get the touchdown from Josh. You keep the game close that way. Are you becoming more comfortable with that formula, even if it's not your preference?
Yeah, no, I have no preference as long as we win. But no, I think the defense, did some great things in this game. I thought Jim and the staff did a really good job with the game plan. I thought, they were a step ahead just in terms of the defenses that we were in. He did a great job of getting them into the right calls. There's still a ton of things that we can improve on and get better at. There is. But, the pick six by Proctor was huge. I thought Davis did a great job there of not blindside blocking that guy. I mean, that's really heads-up football. We got too many penalties on here. We got to get that all cleaned up. But I think our guys are playing hard. And I think that's the thing to me. Like, there's certain things that we can clean up, some things that were close. But our team is playing with passion. They're playing physical. They're playing hard. I mean, to see Josh make that play and then run down on the kickoff, stick the guy inside. I think it was inside the 20-yard line. There's just a lot of that play going on, and this is an exciting team to be around. I think the most exciting part of it is we haven't even reached where we can be, so we got to keep building and growing. But one of the things that you're starting to see about this team is we don't panic. If it's not going quite right, we're going to keep pushing forward. And maybe in the past it was like, okay, if things weren't going well in the first half, if it wasn't like the scoreboard wasn't turning over every couple drives, everybody would start getting panicky. I think these guys have some poise. They've played some games, and counting on that experience to pay off here in October and November.
Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com, and then Cameron Teague Robinson.
Ryan, as you assess things during the off week and you looked at offensive line personnel, was there any revisiting of the five guys you're playing there right now? And what is your concern level? I know you're saying not panicking like within a game, but like what's your concern level of that situation being the thing that kind of holds this team back?
Yeah, I gotta watch it one more time and just see where we're at with what's going on. I know that there's a lot of guys in the box. they're going to stop the run, and that opened up the pass game in the second half. But I don't know exactly what our numbers were. I know I think it was less than 100 yards. I know the big sack probably took away some of it, but I think we were just over 85 yards or so rushing. And we expect to be higher than that. So again, I gotta figure out what it is. Is it the personnel, the scheme, or the coaching of it? I felt like we had a good plan going in. They got a pretty good front. They do a nice job, but we want to be more explosive. Like for instance, you're coming out on the 10-yard line, and there's a lot of guys in the box, and it opened up a huge play for Marvin down the middle of the field. So, those are the things that we have to do. Is if they're going to put that many guys in a box, then we got to be able to throw the football, with what we have. But at the same time, when the box looks right, we got to be efficient. And I'll look at that, and when we have our press conference on Tuesday, I'll probably have a better answer for you.
Okay, I'm going to ask people back there at the tables to clear your computers off. We're going to keep asking Coach some questions. We're going to have 2 more for Coach up here, and then I'm going to bring some players in at those tables. So if you're at the table, I need you to clear off there. A couple more for Coach right now. First of all, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com over to the right, and then Clay Hall.
Just for start, how was Emeka right after this game? And then also, you're talking about Kyle a little bit. What did you just think of his day-to-day?
I think he would tell you, he felt better about the second half than he did the first. Made some nice throws. Wishes he had some back, but yeah, I thought played well there. I don't know what exactly the numbers were in the second half, but that's what our expectations are. And I know he wants to be great, and we'll look at it and try to get better. But and then with Mecca, they're evaluating him now. Doesn't seem like something major, but I don't really have much of an answer for you right now.
Over to the left, Cameron Teague Robinson, the Athletic, and then Dan Hope.
Ryan, it's a tough challenge to contain a quarterback like Maryland has with the pass rush.
Yeah.
Just kind of your thoughts on what those guys up front did, kind of chasing him, keeping him running around.
There was some good plays and some ones that he snuck free on for sure. Yeah, and you can see sometimes we're bringing 5 or 6, and then there's sometimes we're bringing 4, sometimes we're bringing 3, and then so what you do is you try to change up the look in the back end for him. Are there 8 guys in coverage, 7 or 6? Sometimes 0. There was a couple that we brought 0 pressure on. And so when that happens, you have to have a good plan for it. I thought there were some good snaps, but I think there's going to be some things that we know we could have probably handled much better. But again, overall, the goal was to, pretty much contain him. He had 196 yards, 21 of 41, 2 sacks, and obviously the pick 6. So if you had said that going into the game, I probably would have signed on the dotted line on that one. So job well done. And listen, Mike does a good job, and he's a good coach, and Taulia is a very talented player. You can just see he's a really good college football player.
All right, we're going to pause for just a moment. Coach, if you could just stay there. We're going to bring in Marvin Harrison Jr., Cade Stover, and Josh Proctor. We're going to send them to the back. Guys, if you could let them get to the tables in the back. Okay, Cade, you there? Yep, any table you want back there, Marvin. And then, Marvin Harrison Jr., Josh Proctor.
Marv's got his luggage with him. It looks like he's going through TSA over there.
And Cade Stover. And then we're going to continue questions up front here.
Cade, where's your Louis bag? You don't have one? No, you don't have one?
Hey, Cade, you can go all the way to your left there. Okay, over here, back with Coach Day, Clay Hall, WSYX.
I wanted you to talk about getting a sack from a defensive end, but first 10 penalties, including one on the head coach. Did you talk to that guy about what he was thinking right there?
Yeah, I'm going to have to run with the guys tomorrow for that one. I'll take that one, but listen, football's a tough sport. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot going on out there, and I'm coaching my tail off, and so I don't know. I was just trying to coach as hard as I could. I'm not going to talk about it. But I will say this. We can't have that many penalties. That can't happen. So, we can disagree on a few of them, but there's still too many out there.
Coach, over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ryan, you mentioned Josh's big play. I mean, it seemed like time and time again today, he was there when you guys needed him to be. Just what's the biggest difference in him this year in terms of his reliability?
I just called him out in the meeting or in our a little get together there in the locker room because I think he's the best version of himself right now. Guy's been through a lot of ups and downs, injuries, things like that, and he's playing his best football. He's the best version of himself now. Now, in order for us to get to where we need to be in the next 2 months, we're going to need him to play like that. So I just think this is a guy who's been through a lot, and you can't substitute experience, and maturity. And I'm proud that he's playing like he is, but he's got to continue to stay on that discipline because you can see the talents out there and the physicality. He plays tough. I mean, he plays. He comes downhill. There's several pictures in my mind of him showing up at the point of attack and bringing it. So, great to see him out there playing like that.
And final question for Coach Day, front row, Tim May, Letterman row.
Yeah, Ryan, especially early. It seemed like Kyle was just like maybe a beat behind on some of the reads and stuff. And I'm just wondering, what were they throwing some things at you guys that y'all had to sort of sort out?
No. I think Kyle would say the same thing. Had a hard time early on getting to a rhythm, and as a coach, I got to try to help him and figure out how I can help with that. And then, whatever it is, whether we got to, have him go run a few laps before we play the first drive or whatever it is, we'll find a way to get him into a rhythm because you can see the talent is there, the ability is there, but he cares a lot, and as coaches, we'll help him get there.
Great, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Tim, just hold it. I've got Kyle McCord coming up. Thanks, Coach. Have a good evening. Great win. All right, folks, we're going to open up the front here for questions for quarterback Kyle McCord. Sure, yeah. Front row here, Tim May, Letterman row.
Kyle, you were eavesdropping there, but you heard what I asked Coach Day. It just seemed like a beat behind occasionally, and like on the deep ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. was just a little bit late, recognizing whatever. What did you get sorted out, I guess, as the game went on?
Yeah, I thought Coach Day did a good job today, giving the opportunity to kind of get in that rhythm. Obviously, early on, I feel like, missed some opportunities or, saw just a second late. So that's, nobody else but myself. And that's just the area I have to continue to grow on and, continue to find ways to start fast. Because, if we could replicate what we did in the second half, but just do that in the first half, I think that's a completely different game. And a lot of that starts with me. So.
Were they showing something a little bit different, though, than you expected, or was it just?
No, I wouldn't say it was anything that they were doing. I think a lot of that, the looks that we got out there were what we were expecting. Obviously you still have to go out and play football and go through your reads and whatnot. But at the same time, I think I just got to be better, start fast. Because if we can get up, and put a few touchdowns on the board early, that momentum is going to carry us through the entire game.
Over here to the left, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com, and then Jeff Gilbert, Press Pros.
Kyle, you guys have thrived for so many years on offensive balance, the run and the pass game working together. Until the running game gets going more, do you think this offense can be everything it needs and wants to be this season?
I think that's part of playing football. If they're going to try to take away the run, I think we have to do a good job passing the ball, and vice versa. If they want to play us, with high safeties and, bail those linebackers out of there the moment they think it's a pass, then we got to be able to run the ball. There's been points this year where we weren't throwing the ball great, and the running game picked us up, and then there was points where we weren't running the ball great, and I think we picked it up while throwing. But I think obviously there's room for improvement there. Just need to continue to grow. I think this offense is no doubt at its best, and we have both of those departments going.
Okay, I'm gonna give the Marvin Harrison group a last call right now for questions because we're gonna get Sonny Styles in there. Over here to the right, Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now on SI.
A two-part question. First of all, how much do you feel the wind affected your deep ball throw to Marvin and to Julian, if at all? And the second part is about tempo. It feels like in the second half when you were running tempo, things were rhythmic and smooth and quick and reactive. Are you more comfortable in tempo?
Yeah. To answer your first question, I think the biggest thing with the deep ball is just seeing it early. And then getting a good pre-snap look and giving myself an idea of what I'm going to do with the ball pre-snap. That way I can get those balls out, just a hair quicker and hit them on the run. And then as far as tempo goes, I think it depends on the week. Obviously, there are some weeks where you want to control the ball and control the clock. But this wasn't really one of those weeks, so we knew on offense, they were going to throw the ball too. They were going to go tempo too. So it wasn't one of those things where, we had to try to get the perfect look on every single play. So I think all the guys with the plays we call when we do go tempo are comfortable with them. And we were able to get rolling there a little bit. And, sometimes that's what you need in, slow start type of games, ugly games like this. Get some tempo going. Even if you're not hitting big plays, just that rhythm, I feel like, kind of gets us, moving down the field a little bit on offense.
Okay, we're going to pause it. Hey, if we could keep it down in the back a little bit. Sonny Styles, if you don't mind taking the empty table in the back. We've got Sonny. Okay, we're going to start to wrap it up for Cade Stover in the back because I've got JT Tuimoloau that's going to go up there, continuing with Kyle McCord right here, Jeff Gilbert, Press Pros.
Kyle, when offenses are clicking, it feels like, well, they're calling better plays, figuring out what the defense is doing more. Was there anything to the second half in that, or did you just execute better and take advantage?
We just executed better. I feel like there were definitely opportunities for us in the first half to go score. There wasn't anything that, we didn't expect for the most part. And it wasn't anything that, I think the coaches could have done better. I feel like, as offense and as a quarterback of the offense, I feel like we need to take the initiative and regardless of what they call, make it work. And we didn't quite do that in the first half. And then the second half, I felt like we did do that. We executed when the opportunities presented itself, and that's huge. Especially when you get down to the red zone, scoring touchdowns instead of field goals, because that's, a 4-point swing right there. So I wouldn't say it was the play calling. I would say it's just execution that we need to continue to improve upon.
2 plays that were huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Katie, go ahead. Yeah. Actually, we've got JT Tuimoloau at the back now, and we're continuing with Kyle McCord. Over to the right here, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Kyle, everybody we talk to talks about how you're the same person no matter what's going on. Your demeanor never changes. Is that a developed trait? Is that something you've always done? And I guess, how does that, really rally or keep an offense kind of settled in moments where you guys weren't playing very well early on?
Yeah, I think that's always kind of been my personality. Just cool, calm, collected, but I think there's definitely a balance to it. I think at times you need to be that kind of fiery leader and light a fire under the guys, get them going. But then, when things don't look great and, we're kind of spinning our tires a little bit, then, be that calming voice, be like, all right, we're good. We just need to stick to what we do and, get this thing rolling.
Who's got it over here? Oh, Katie Kapusta, Spectrum News.
Hey, Kyle, Coach talked about how poised this team is, so kind of going off of this last question, but how important is it to stay poised after that first half? Not only you, but specifically this team. It seems like such a maturity aspect.
You're talking about the first half, how we stayed calm after that first half? Yeah. Obviously, you want to start fast and not put yourself in that position. But today, obviously, that wasn't the case. We didn't, have a fast start, and the game was just tied going into halftime. And I think that is a credit to a lot of the older guys like Cade Stover, on the offense. Just, like I just said, I think he was fiery at times when we needed to get going. And then I think at other times, it was like, we're good, and we just need to get the ball back and just take a deep breath. And so I think that's the leaders, and I try to do that myself as well. And I think when you have a good amount of guys all preaching that same message, I think it just calms everybody down and reminds them there's a lot of football left to be played. There's no reason to panic. We just need to go out there and do our thing.
We're going to do about 4 more questions for Kyle. Over to the right, Michael Cohen, Fox Sports.
Kyle, I'm not sure what the final number was, but with a couple minutes left in the game, you had targeted Marvin on about 52% of your throws today. I'm sure you'll throw it to him as many times as he's open, but is there also a balancing act between knowing you have a weapon like that and then also trying to get everybody else involved as best you can?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that is dependent on what the defense does. In weeks prior, we've seen Marvin get doubled, and you have to go to other guys, and so his stats that week might have not looked great. But other guys obviously got more touches, got more yards, touchdowns, whatever. And then today, a few times, I think they tried to double him or, give him a little more attention. But if there's a one-on-one opportunity with Marvin, I don't care who's guarding him. I like Marvin 10 times out of 10. So I think a lot of it is just what kind of the defense decides they want to do.
Over to the left, Andy Backstrom, Letterman Row.
Kyle, you've proven to be an accurate quarterback here, but early game, the last couple of games, you've had a little bit of time to get into it. What can you kind of diagnose with those accuracy issues, and is that just something that is nerves? Is it something else with reading the defense? What would you say it is?
Yeah, obviously that's probably the biggest area then try to focus on for next week is just starting fast and getting to that rhythm, not trying to overthink, plays. And, I feel like sometimes, especially early on, you want to make, the perfect read and the perfect throw, whatever. But playing quarterback, you almost have to just let the game come to you. And if a shot's there, take it. Don't force it. If they drop out of there, you got to take something underneath. Be fine with that, and just kind of get into the flow of the game. And then I think once you do that, everything kind of slows down a tick. And so I think the biggest thing is just coming out next week and being focused in on starting fast.
Last couple questions for Kyle. Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Kyle, Marvin described his ankle being good enough from throwing him the ball. How does his good enough look to you?
Yeah, I mean, his good enough to me looked really good during the week. Obviously, not a great-looking injury from last week, but I think the bye week definitely helped, gave him some time to recover, and then I think he gained a lot of confidence in practice this week, going full speed again, and I could tell by Tuesday he was going to be 100% or close to that by game time.
And hey, folks at the back, we need to start wrapping up with JT and with Sonny. And final question for Kyle, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Hey, Kyle. We're here. I apologize if you've been asked something similar, but you had the kind of coming-of-age drive against Notre Dame, and then things were pretty shaky early on before you turn it on, the team turned it on. What did you learn about yourself today? Anything you can take for the future?
Yeah, I think obviously, personally speaking as myself and then as an offense, just starting faster, I think has to be a point of emphasis this week. And, not trying to, kind of feel your way into the game, just come out swinging. I think that has to be a point of emphasis for us this week. But at the same time, as crazy as it may sound, I think, things like that are almost good for us in the long run. We know if we're in a tie game at halftime, not to panic and just to continue to stick to our fundamentals, stick to our rules, and eventually, something's going to pop. And, that's what happened. I mean, even in the second half when they went down and scored, nobody panicked. Nobody was freaking out. We knew exactly what we needed to do, and that was get the ball down and score. And once we got that little bit of momentum, just keep it rolling in the second half. But I think the biggest thing, just, talking for myself and the offense, is just starting fast.
Great. Kyle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. And, folks, that's it for post-game press conferences today.